Let me ask you a quick question, and I want you to answer honestly. Have you ever wanted to be a sentient potato? It's alright, no need to be shy, you're all among friends here. I know I've always wanted to be a potato. Soon. While we wait for science fiction to become science fact, let me tell you about a fun little game that will hold back that craving to become a crispy potato. I was browsing around Steam one sunny day while looking at hot deals when I stumbled upon Brotato. I was a fan of Vampire Survivor and knew I had to check this puppy out, and you know what? I'm glad I did. My inner Spud was being mashed up and becoming twice baked, and I have no idea what that means. Anyway, sometimes browsing around Steam can allow you to find wonderful little gems, and that's what this one was, a wonderful little gem. So, let's take a quick look, and I do mean quick look, at Blobfish's 2023 release of Brotato. And hey, guess what? No spoilers, can you believe it? Rest easy, pal, you can let your guard down in this video and just relax. Relax, no spoilers. Brotato actually doesn't have a main story per se for me to regale you with. In fact, it doesn't have much of a story at all. The best story I can see is in the game's description on Steam, which reads as follows. A spaceship from Potato World crashes into an alien planet. The sole survivor, Brotato, the only potato capable of wielding 6 weapons at the same time, waiting to be rescued by his mates. Brotato must survive in a hostile environment. That's the Steam description, and I mean, I haven't seen a more straightforward and simple story since I covered the Elder Scrolls 1 Arena. Listen, having a simple, straightforward is actually fun at times. There's no deep lore to worry about, no people you need to remember, no backstabbing or politics or anything like that that you need to worry about. It's just simple, straightforward, and you know what? I like that. But, you know what? That's still at the same time no fun, so let's just go ahead and make one up, shall we? Here's a short story of Lycanball, the aquatic axolotl-esque potato. Man, I come up with the weirdest stuff. The war between potato and alien mutant eggplants was at its height. Lycanball had lost a lot of the things he loved. Dr. Peptato, his swampy home, and of course, and some might argue, the most important thing of all, his mind. That's right, the loss of his home and his lost Dr. Peptato shattered his poor little potato mind. But that was a good thing, because he was going to join up with the army and take the fight to those alien mutant eggplant sons of guns. Lycato's spaceship was the last to take flight that one potato day. He was among 19 other potatoes, each with their own rich backstories and reasons for fighting. But oddly enough, each one of them were wearing their lucky red shirts that day, and even more surprisingly, they were all just 2 days away from retirement. What are the odds of that? Either way, the spaceship launched into space and flew all the way to the alien eggplant homeworld. However, while in orbit, a giant eggplant beetle thing shot a giant plasma beam out of its butt and hit the ship Lycanball was in. It was going down. Alarms blared and the ship spun around and around and around and around, and then darkness. Lycanball was unsure of how much time had passed. He crawled out from the wreckage, and to his horror, all the other red shirt potatoes, each just 2 days from retirement, were mashed up. He was the sole survivor. In the distance, he could hear the strange garbled talking of those dirty, evil, even possibly rotten on the inside eggplant mother truckers closing in. Lycanball sadly didn't have the ability to hold 6 weapons at once, unlike the hero Brotato, but he had a secret weapon of his own. He had his beanie rigged up in the latest of potato science, which gave him the ability to shoot mind bullets. Yes, that's right, mind bullets. Bet you weren't expecting that one. The fight was tough. It seemed like there was no end to these alien mutant eggplant scum. Wave after wave of them came, and some of them were big brutes that charged at him, and others shot plasma bullets from their eyes or something, while others just slowly crawled towards him. But Lycanball had something they didn't have. It wasn't the mind bullets. It wasn't the awesome beanie, which really was awesome, by the way. It wasn't even his craving for another Dr. Peptato. No. It was hope. Yes, hope. Hope that he'd one day survive and live long enough to see the release of the Elder Spud 6, Viciouswa. Viciouswa. Finally, after what felt like days but was probably more like 30 minutes or so, the waves died down and his enemies retreated. He stood victorious. He stood on the barren soil of that planet and let out a battle cry that would have made the Vitatos of old proud. Lycanball could hear the potato army rolling in. He was safe and he'd live to fight another day. The end. Oh man, I make up the craziest stuff. Jeez. Honestly, I can say that was probably the greatest story ever told. I have no negative things to say about it. In fact, I dare say it should win some sort of award. Best story ever. One day, I even hope to see this story adapted into film, because I think we can all agree it would become the greatest video game movie that ever existed, ever, and probably would bring world peace. I know I personally would go to the theater to watch it at least 10 times and cry at the end every single time, even though I know exactly what's gonna happen. But that's enough praising for one day. I think we should move on to gameplay now. Gameplay! Jeez. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Brotato is simple and easy to play. It's for all ages. You start by selecting your character, of which there are many, by the way. You don't start out with the full roster. You, of course, have to unlock them by achieving particular goals. And each little fellow has his own little unique quirk. For example, the multitasker here. He can deal 20% more damage and have a total of 12 weapons, but each time you add a weapon to him, you lose 5% damage. Another example is the soldier. He gets a huge 50% buff for more attack speed and damage as long as he isn't moving. He picks things up from further away, can push enemies back with his attacks, and move around quicker when he does move, but this all comes at the cost of being unable to attack while moving around. So you pretty much, and that's the trade-off. It's very interesting stuff. It's little things like this that give each character a more unique feel. Some are better than others, of course, depending on your own personal playstyle, but each is fun to still mess around with. Now, while you're out there on the battlefield, your selected character will get stronger. You collect experience points in the form of these little green gem things, and once you have enough, you'll level up. Leveling up grants you the chance to select a buff. As you can see here, I can select from health regeneration, more elemental damage, a higher critical hit chance, or move around faster. Now, if none of these choices tickle your little potato pickle, you can risk it and reroll. You may get something better, or you may get something worse. Now, a lot of these stats here are more or less self-explanatory, like health, attack, dodge, attack speed, and so on, and some of them aren't, like engineering or harvesting. Thankfully, hovering over each of the stat will drop down to like a little info tab for you to read. Personally, I love this. Nothing makes me happier than when a game shows me all the stats and their percentages and what each one does and how it will affect my little potato self. Now, when it comes to weapons and items, you've got a whole host of things to mess around with. You've got the standard guns for long range and melee for up close, but what sets each weapon apart and makes each one feel different are their own unique effects. For example, the screwdriver. It has, like all weapons, has its own stats for damage, critical, cooldown, knockback, and range, but what sets it apart is that unique effect. This one can let you spawn in a landmine every 12 seconds. And the more screwdrivers you have, the more landmines will spawn in. However, it doesn't end there. Each weapon has a modifier. Again, using the screwdriver as an example, it is a tool class weapon. The more of these you have, the more the modifier is activated. Each screwdriver will add to that buff, which is a buff to your engineering skill. While all of this may seem a little overwhelming and complex, I assure you it isn't. If you're just casually playing this game, none of it really matters. Sure, you may need to pay a little bit more attention depending on which character you're playing as, but each character can be changed as you progress. The old potato character here doesn't need to stick with melee weapons or screwdrivers or whatever. You could just easily as grab a gun or a rocket launcher. It doesn't matter. But that brings me over to items. As you play the game, you'll pick up these little green gems, which, as we know, act as experience, but it also acts as money. At the end of each round or wave, whichever you prefer, you'll get the chance to spend that money on 4 randomly selected items or weapons. Right here, we have 4 choices: alien worm, knife, screwdriver, and lost duck. Each of these does something a little bit different. The weapons we already know, but these items will affect your character's stats, giving you a much needed boost in the next round. Now, most items will give a buff, but they'll also give a trade-off for that buff. The alien worm here will give us more health and more health regeneration, but at the cost of any future healing item we pick up in the game will be giving us less health. The lost duck gives you more luck, but at the cost of elemental damage. So it's a risk-reward system. Some of these debuffs will be completely worthless to you, so you won't care. Like, for example, you may never be ever worried about dealing elemental damage, so the lost duck is just a boost to luck with no penalty. So there you go. Now, if none of these items tickle your little potato pickle, you can, like level up stats, risk a reroll. This will cost money, but it may give you something better to buy in the future. Now, what if you see something you like but can't afford it? Well, worry not, pal, because you can lock it. Locking the item will keep it in the shop, so when you finish the next round and return, it'll be here waiting for you like some sort of loyal potato hound dog. All of these things combined, the money, level ups, item buffs, will eventually turn your sad mashed spud into a double-baked hardcore potato who cannot be stopped. You can crank E1, M1, fire off six rocket launchers at the same time, be as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog, as strong as Superman, and pretty much just be unstoppable. Some may even call you a god spud, a cosmic russet, or maybe even he who shall not be mashed. Now, all of that aside, what is the goal of the game? Well, pal, it's simple. Really, really simple. Reach the end. Nothing more, nothing less. You must survive 20 waves, and at the end, fight a boss, or run down the clock if you can't beat him. You can, of course, make the game harder by increasing the danger level. Doing this will spawn in like new enemies and more bosses and some other factors, but it is just that simple. Reach the end. Listen, at the end of the day, the gameplay of Brotato is solid. There are tons of characters to pick, lots of weapons, and plenty of items to choose from. A lot of the game is RNG, especially with all the items, weapons, and stats and level ups, but honestly, that's what makes it fun. You just gotta deal with what you've been given, you know what I mean? Now, I'm sure I've missed a few things here and there, and yeah, I could have probably broken down each and every stat, weapon, item, but honestly, there's no point. I want you to get out there and discover these things for yourself, just like I did. So, that's it for gameplay. Gameplay's done. Let's just move on to my final thoughts. I'd be lying to you if I said this game was for everybody. I'd be lying to you if I said this game was a masterpiece. I'd be lying to you if I told you it isn't worth your time, because it absolutely is. Brotato is a game that I've personally been playing over the course of playing each Fallout game. Sometimes I needed to just unwind before going to bed, or while I was writing the scripts. I just needed to take a break and clear my mind, so I'd play Brotato. It is fun. It's quick little game sessions, make it easy to just pick up and play at a moment's notice. And while I don't personally own a Steam Deck, I can tell that this game would be perfect for that system. The team over at Blobfish have done a fantastic job with Brotato. Its bright colors and simplistic art design help it stand apart. And if that wasn't enough, the game holds an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam. Over 45,000 people have reviewed the game, and while I'm sure there were a few people who were upset for whatever reasons, I can personally tell you that in my own 65 hours, I'm proud to say that I really love this game and would personally say it lives up to that overwhelmingly positive rating. I, for one, thank them. I thank everybody at Blobfish, and if anybody of them are watching, which I highly doubt they are, I just want to say you've done a fantastic job, and you should be proud of yourself. I hope you are as happy with the game as we are of playing with it. I think you did well, pal, and you earned yourself a pat on the back, so take that pat on the back, man. Should you play Brotato? Yes, sirree, you should. If you liked, I hate comparing it to Vampire Survivor, but that was the first one of these particular types of games that I played. If you liked it, or games like it, Brotato will be right up your alley. And if you've never tried this game before, I have some fantastic news for you. The game is inexpensive and won't break the bank or hurt your wallet at all. It is only $4.99 American buckaroos. I don't know how much it will cost in your particular region, but in America, it's $4.99. And if you pick this item up on sale, you'll get it for even less than that. But even at its regular price, it is 100% worth it. So, do yourself a favor, go and give it a go. And who knows, maybe you too will find yourself playing it half the damn night without realizing it like I did. And that's it. That's all I have to say about Brotato. But my friends, before I go, there's something very important that I must do. And that is thank the Venzo people who have joined my wonderful little join button. The 5 lovely people who have joined. And those people are Family Dog, Ben M, Anya the Khajiit, David Welsh, and the newest person to go through the great joining is Amelia. So thank you very much, Amelia. Thank you very, very, very much. But that is not the last part. The last part, of course, is what's next? Well, that's where it gets a little bit tricky, pals. I don't know what's next. Up next is a mystery. It's a mystery. It's up there with the greatest mysteries on Earth. Like, you know, did alien mole rats really build the pyramids? Was Atlantis really a real place? Really? Really? Was it? Was it? And did it have like a Starbucks? Because I bet it didn't. And of course, probably the greatest mystery of all, where did I put my keys? Because I have no idea. I haven't driven my car in over a year, so I mean, there you go. But in all seriousness, I genuinely have no idea what's coming up next. So it'll be a surprise to not only you, but me. But probably the next video will probably be out in roughly October. So it'll probably be a spooky video. So if it's a spooky video, there you go. What spooky video? What spooky game am I playing? I don't know. I have a few lined up. And honestly, it's up to my computer. Whatever, I got like this old crummy computer, so whatever it runs, it runs. So there you go. It'll be a mystery to you and me both, pal. It'll be a mystery to you and me both. So, until next time, stay awesome, stay beautiful, stay healthy, stay Venzo, and peace out, pals. Peace out.